Josh, how much have you changed the last few weeks from what you were doing earlier in the season?
Not a lot. Obviously, we've kind of leaned a little bit more just toward the pass, but we haven't changed what we do or how we do it. I think for us, it's about consistency. It's about consistency in our approach, consistency, and obviously teaching and learning, and then also just consistency in having our players available. And I think that's a big piece to to us, and obviously we just got to keep getting better. We've got so much room to grow. Got a ton of areas we still have to improve on, and we're looking forward to doing that.
So the actual playbook is the same? I mean, the plays you're running are the same?
Yeah,
you were
yes,
running all through training camp?
Absolutely, yes. Our kids are, they're learning. They're still learning. They're still growing. Every opportunity is new for them, as far as the game opportunities. And so we're just looking forward to continue to build their confidence, and just continue to get them to execute.
How big has Rashad Smith's emergence been in the short passing game and you being able to work the ball to all different parts of the field?
Very huge. When you lose someone like us, we lost in Xavier, those are big shoes to fill. And to see the emergence of Rashad Smith, and he's a guy that he's still a young player. Didn't play quite a bit. Obviously played a little bit last year in small situations for certain plays, but now we're asking him to be a full-time wide receiver, and I think that was new for him. Because he saw X out there. He saw the player that he was learning from. He didn't necessarily think his opportunity was going to come as fast as it did, and he's done a tremendous job. I really am proud of Rashad, the way he's approached practice, his production, and even just each week, being able to overcome adversity and bounce back from certain situations. Really proud. He's continued to build.
Obviously, you've got some pretty big receivers too, which is different than last year where Tyler was mostly throwing the slot guy and Rambo, who was 6'1" or whatever. Has that been an adjustment, do you think, at all for Tyler, just having different types of receivers out there? And it looks like he just has trust in those guys now to kind of make plays.
I think Kobe Young gives us something we didn't have. I think Kobe Young has stepped up, and he's still learning. It was his first real college game experience last week. It's shocking to say that. It's the first time he's really been in the game, and so there were some areas that obviously he wished to improve on, but there were some areas where he made some plays, and he gave us something different that we haven't had all season long. Someone that competes and goes after the football in the air, obviously with his size. Being able to use that to an advantage for him, and I think you're seeing the confidence grow in him. It's growing in him and our staff, growing in him and our players, our quarterbacks. They love throwing to him, and now obviously we got to continue to build on it. We got to kind of really build his resume as a receiver. It can't just be all vertical routes. It's got to be a complete package. And but very, very pleased considering the situation that he was in and having to step up. And it's not easy to go out there your first game and play 71 snaps and be forced into that type of role, but he did it in a great way.
Obviously, you played like 10 snaps against North Carolina. Obviously, got a touchdown that game too. I guess he'd been impressive behind the scenes, but did a game like that give you that? Just seeing that little flash there against North Carolina give you guys more confidence?
It did, and I think it's just every man taking advantage of the opportunity they're given. Obviously we've got injuries along the offense. And it's the next man up mentality. Every man's got to prepare themselves when their opportunity comes. I think we're about down to the bottom of the barrel as far as scholarships left. We need guys. We need guys to create roles. We need guys to, we need our backup players to start performing as starters because they're one play away, one snap away. And Kobe Young's a great example of a young man that obviously came in here later into the summer. He's learned the system, and now he's providing tremendous value to our football team.
Coach, obviously the passing game is doing great. With the run game the last couple of weeks, would you say it's a running backs issue, an offensive line issue, tight ends block, another guys block? Like, what sort of caused you to say, hey, we got to go with the pass more because that's really what's working?
I think there's a great question. It's a combination of a lot of things. You're talking about injuries and depth issues, obviously up front. You talk about injuries and depth issues at the running back position. It's been the perfect storm that that has kind of really hit us in the running game. It's hard to say it's one particular thing. It's a combination of all of those things that you mentioned. But that's obviously an area where we've got to improve. We know it. But first and foremost, we got to build the confidence back in it. Got to build the confidence back in our players, in our run game. They've shown what they can do. We've got to get them to do it. And I've got to have that confidence in it, you know, being able to trust it, you know, not get down on a negative run that eventually one's going to pop. And, you know, but the biggest thing we got to do completely is just get healthy in both of those positions. We're faced with some tremendous challenges at the running back and at the offensive line position. And whoever we have out there, we're just going to need those guys to go.
Coach, Frank Watson, how much has he contributed to this passing game taking off more? And yeah, he's done well recently.
Yeah, Frank's done really well for us. You know, the area where we now got to take Frank to get the next step is we got to win one-on-one battles. We got to win those competitive catches, those deep opportunities. You know, a lot of what Kobe has kind of brought with us or brought to us, you know, that opportunity to win one-on-one outside. You know, we're going to need that from both our outside receivers, you know, and Frank as well as Keyshawn, you know, Keyshawn Smith. You know, obviously, you know, Frank last week, you know, played a really good game. And we're going to need more from him. We're going to need more from Keyshawn, need more from Kobe. And I think as the message was portrayed to the offense, you know, we just got to do more. We got to continue to do more across the board wherever we can to get the most out of our guys.
How about Tyler Van Dyke? What's been the difference, I mean, from the slow period of the season he had to now?
Well, you know, I don't ever think that he had a slow period in the early part of the season. You know, I think his performance has been consistent as far as his reads and where he's going with the football. I know obviously, you know, everyone kind of puts the cloud over the 2 interception game, but, you know, those were just a situation that happened within a game. He was playing good football before. He was obviously making some good throws, good decisions, and that was just keeping him confident in his approach, preparation, and trusting receivers. I think that's tremendous credit to Tyler. He's also had a revolving door of pass catchers that he's had to throw the ball to, and so that's oftentimes not very likely to happen during a season. And for your quarterback to be able to go out there and trust, you know, your backup receiver, go out there and trust your 4th or 5th guy to make plays for you and put that trust and give those guys those throws, I think has been tremendous for Tyler and his leadership.
17 points in the first half and 3 in the second half. After watching the film, did they do anything different, or what was the reason for the sputtering in the second half?
You know, we really just beat ourselves the second half. You know, you look at it first and foremost, right? We had 9 offensive penalties. You know, you can't play a game with 9 offensive penalties, whether that's drive killers, you know, or you know, one series in there we had, you know, 3 penalties right in a row. And we can't have that. We got real sloppy as the game went on, and you know, that showed up. And we've got to be a more disciplined offense. We've got to be a more disciplined football team, and that's got to start with us demanding that of our players, which we do, and we've got to hold ourselves accountable for it. But I think when you look at the second half, I think it was just the flow of it. You know, I think we can't get relaxed by any means, and oftentimes as your team is trying to grow and mature, you got to be able to handle success, whether that's game success or first half success. You got to be able to handle that. You got to be able to have that instincts to continue to push on and push forward. And we've got to learn from that second half, because I think that second half was an important one to learn from. Obviously, we were able to gain a win, but there's so much more that we can do to improve in that second half.
When you talk about momentum, you know, you lose a guy like Will Mallory so early in the game, and he was looking phenomenal. How do you think that kind of changed the momentum and the mentality?
Well, you know, it changed a lot of what you do, you know, because that took another hit, obviously, at the tight end position. So you're talking about from a personnel standpoint, you know, you're kind of down to only 2 guys left, and or 2 or 3 guys left, and then obviously face a little bit of adversity later, losing Rashad, you know, and so it's nothing we haven't been through. I mean, you know, unfortunate for us, you know, we've been through it all, you know, and I think our guys can't be phased at this point. You know, I think we're somewhere down between 8 or 9 players who have started for us on offense, you know, at some point. And so, you know, it comes with the game of football, it comes with the season. We've got to continue to push forward, find ways to win. And, you know, ultimately, you know, whatever way that we can find to outscore that team and win that game is going to be our approach each and every week.
So the approach on the final couple of drives seemed to be got to throw to pick up first downs. You know, it didn't work the second to last drive. It worked the final drive. Was that kind of the mentality that with the running game not sputtering, couldn't really trust it to get the yards in time you needed?
Well, you know, in a critical situation in a game where obviously you have a lead, you know, you kind of lean back on what has worked for you that day. You know, leaning back on what has allowed you to be successful at that moment in the game. That was what I felt would create success for us, leaning in the pass game. Obviously, we had some challenges to produce some positive plays, but I've got to continue to trust and believe in our run game. We've got to be able to grind it out late in the game when we need to, and be able to run the ball when we need to and when we have to, as well as being able to throw the ball when we need to and when we have to. And so that was just a situation throughout the game to trust, obviously putting the ball in the hands of Tyler and the receivers who would continue to make some plays throughout that game. But we'll get our run game going. We will. I truly believe, and I got tremendous confidence in our run game, and we'll get it going.
Coach,
Last question from Cal.
Coach,
Sorry, Coach. I just want to ask you about Colby. Obviously, we're seeing him make plays on the field, but what has he gone through off the field in practice and film to learn this new system from a whole different division to be able to make these things?
Yeah, just getting acclimated. You know, just being able to obviously came here and right at the end of June, beginning of July. You know, you're talking about a whole different change for him. You know, coming from the junior college ranks, just getting acclimated academically, athletically, getting his body in position. You know, he was a guy that, you know, he didn't do anything from June, March, April, May, when everyone else was doing spring football. He was done with football. And so even having to train his body at a high level to be able to be ready, you know, for season and for fall camp. And then, you know, he's worked through some small little nagging injuries early on in camp, and he's gotten himself in position now, and he's playing, you know, he's playing good football for us. And we're going to need Kobe as we head down this stretch, especially in the ACC play. We're going to need him to continue to improve, continue to take his game to the next level, and help us win games.
Thank you, Coach.